August 1994, Puerto Rico. An FBI agent hears a whisper from the bushes. Before he can move, cold steel presses against his skull. "Don't run, motherfucker. You aren't going to outrun these bullets." His wife and 2 sons are sleeping inside. But here's what the hitman doesn't know. The man on his knees isn't just any agent. He spent 6 years pretending to be a cartel smuggler. He fooled 75 cartel killers into trusting him with their lives. He moved over $1 billion in cocaine across the Caribbean, every gram seized by the FBI. He laundered tens of millions for Colombia's most dangerous money boss. And 3 days ago, he destroyed 52 cartel members with a single indictment. Now, someone wants payback. The man who sent the hitman promised to reach him, and that man has never been caught. The agent is unarmed, barefoot, seconds away from execution, and his only weapon is a door. How did one agent survive 6 years undercover? And does the hitman finish the job? Late 1980s, Miami. The war on drugs burns at full intensity. Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel floods America with cocaine, nearly 2 million pounds annually by DEA estimates. 1,000-kilo seizures barely dent the supply. To the Colombians, a captured shipment is overhead. The FBI realizes their usual tactics are failing. They do not need another bust. They need someone on the inside. Martin Suarez fits the profile. Navy veteran, expert pilot and ship navigator. Born in Puerto Rico, fluent in Spanish and calm under fire. On paper, he possesses every skill to infiltrate a cartel. But skills alone will not keep him alive. To earn the Colombians' trust, Martin cannot simply act like one of them. He must become one of them. A single slip, one misplaced word, and the cartel will execute him before he can reach for a radio. The FBI constructs an airtight undercover identity, what agents call a legend. Enter Diego, a former Medellin pilot turned federal informant. Diego once flew cocaine for José Gonzalo Rodriguez Gacha, alias El Mexicano, one of Escobar's top lieutenants. Now Diego becomes Martin's criminal mentor. His assignment: teach Martin to walk, talk, spend, and think like a cartel trafficker. Diego drills Martin on everything: the swagger, the slang, the spending habits. Don't be cheap, he warns, because cartel operators burn cash like diesel. Martin learns to curse in Colombian Spanish, to spit triple hijo puta with conviction instead of a tame insult. He learns which whiskey a cartel boss orders at dinner, aged scotch, never bourbon. Which watch to wear, a Rolex studded with diamonds. Which questions never to ask, because prying into family or partners will get you shot. Every detail could be a tell. Every mistake, a death sentence. Over weeks, Martin transforms. He grows out his hair, adopts Italian-tailored slacks, ostrich-skin cowboy boots, guayabera shirts and fedoras, a heavy gold bracelet on one wrist, a diamond Rolex on the other, all courtesy of the FBI's undercover budget. The Bureau supplies 2 luxury vehicles, a gold Porsche 928 and a black Porsche 911 Carrera. Most agents get desk assignments, Martin gets sports cars. In a rundown warehouse district in South Miami, the FBI sets up Manny's office behind a produce export front. Hidden microphones line every wall. Martin's radios and phones are bugged to record every transaction. If this works, they capture a treasure trove of intelligence. If it fails, they might also capture Martin's final moments on tape. Martin Suarez officially ceases to exist. In his place stands Manny, a flashy independent smuggler with a reputation for reliability and zero scruples about who he works for. Manny talks faster, laughs louder, and spends freely. He knows the handshakes, the lingo, the silent code. But will the cartel believe it? The first test arrives fast. One steamy Miami afternoon, 3 women stroll into Manny's office carrying cardboard boxes overflowing with cash. They say the money is from El Viejo, the old man. Martin recognizes that name, Gerardo Tigre Valencia, a veteran narco in Escobar's inner circle. Tigre controls cocaine labs in Colombia's southern jungles and bankrolls Marxist guerrillas for protection. If Tigre Valencia is sending Manny cash, the cartel is interested. The boxes contain a down payment for a major shipment. Martin's FBI handlers photograph the serial numbers on every bill, then let Manny deliver the money as instructed. The operation has begun. But trust in the cartel is not given. It is earned through trials by fire. Before Manny receives any product, the cartel imposes a gauntlet, the vote. Manny must meet 75 operatives across the hemisphere. Each will size him up, then collectively decide if he is legitimate or a dead man walking. Law enforcement officers are bound by budgets, timelines, and jurisdictions. A real cop cannot jet set for months without raising red flags or running out of money. A real cop gets impatient. The cartel's test exploits exactly that. Martin's FBI handlers grimace at the scope. Once Manny is loose in the wild, it is all on Martin's improvisation and instincts. Before he departs, one handler claps him on the shoulder. "Good luck. You're about to speed date 75 psychopaths. Don't let any of them break your heart." Martin forces a grin, but the gravity is undeniable. If even one cartel lieutenant dislikes Manny's vibe, Martin Suarez will disappear permanently. What happens when a single federal agent tries to fool 75 killers spread across half a dozen countries? And what will Martin have to do, or pretend to prove he belongs in the cartel's inner circle? 1989. Manny's world tour begins. The cartel sends him zigzagging across the hemisphere: Panama, Guatemala, Honduras, Puerto Rico, Boston, New York, and even Rhode Island. Over 8 months, Martin lives out of suitcases and roach-infested motels, hopping between flights and safe houses, never knowing who he will meet next or what test awaits. The vetting system is cruel. Meetings are scheduled, then canceled at the last minute to test his patience. Dead drops change locations without warning. A contact in Panama makes him wait alone at a cafe for 6 hours just to see if he gets jumpy or calls for backup. In Honduras, a supposed rendezvous in a remote warehouse turns out empty, perhaps observed by unseen eyes gauging his reaction. They watch for any sign that Manny has a handler or a deadline. Real traffickers do not have bureaucratic clocks ticking over their heads. Does Manny? He better not. At each encounter, Martin meets a different facet of the network. A pilot with crazed eyes rambles about dodging DEA radar over the Yucatan. A money man in a tailored suit grills Manny on offshore accounts in the Caymans. A scar-faced sicario sits in silence, staring, saying nothing, gauging whether Manny will crack under the pressure of being watched. Martin remains in character through it all, heart pounding but outwardly cool, cocky, a little unhinged, just the way they expect. He drinks with them, jokes with them, lets them believe he is as corrupt as they come. Inside, the stress is eating him. By the 3rd month, Martin finds it hard to remember where Manny ends and he begins. He talks like Manny even when he calls his wife in Puerto Rico, a subtle swagger that makes her uneasy. The double life is warping him. Late at night, alone in another dingy hotel, Martin stares into the mirror and sees Manny's gold chain-wearing, sun-tanned reflection smirking back. Who am I right now? He wonders. An FBI agent? A criminal? Both? Disturbingly, being both works. Martin discovers that his best strategy is not to compartmentalize. The more he embraces Manny's persona as part of himself, the more naturally he navigates the cartel's world. It is a psychological tightrope. By day, he does things that would have made his younger self sick: bribery, money laundering, arranging murders on the phone. The arrangements are fake, but the words taste real coming out of his mouth. By night, he tells himself he is doing it for the right reasons. But every day, that moral line blurs a little more. 8 months of nerve-shredding audition finally culminate in a quiet verdict from the cartel's leadership. The whispers circulate. Manny's solid. Manny's one of us. 75 drug traffickers have agreed that this Puerto Rican smuggler is the real deal. Martin should feel triumph. Instead, he feels a chill. By convincing them he is genuine, he has embedded himself deeper than he ever anticipated. The Medellin cartel now considers Manny one of their most trusted operators. They welcome him not just as a courier, but as an insider worthy of major responsibility. He has gotten what he wanted, access. But there is no going back easily. Parts of him are Manny now, whether he likes it or not. The reward arrives immediately, and it is staggering. The cartel offers Manny a gargantuan load, 3,000 kilos of 95% pure Colombian white. The street value is approximately $500 million. Manny's job is to retrieve it from the middle of the Caribbean Sea and deliver it to Miami all in one night under cover of darkness. It will be the largest single drug shipment an undercover FBI agent has ever handled. Martin's heart skips a beat. This is the moment of truth. If he fails, the cartel will suspect incompetence at best, smell a rat at worst. Either way, very angry people will be looking for him. But there is no backing out. Manny grins and tells the bosses, "No problem. Consider it done." How do you smuggle $500 million in cocaine across open water without the cartel discovering you are the very agent trying to destroy them? And what happens when you succeed, but then get promoted into something far more dangerous than smuggling? Early 1990. The FBI gears up for one of the most audacious stings in its history. Martin has spent 6 weeks helping plan the logistics under the cartel's watchful eye, while secretly coordinating an army of federal agents in the shadows. They need ironclad proof tying this cocaine to the Colombian cartel from source to sea to shore. If any link in the chain of evidence breaks, the whole case collapses in court. Every moving part is carefully arranged. The cocaine will be dropped by plane over open water. Martin, as Manny, will lead a team to retrieve it by boat. His crew members are undercover FBI agents posing as his hand-picked smugglers. Surveillance aircraft and Coast Guard cutters wait just out of sight, ready to track every splash and every nautical mile. In a hidden cove in Grand Cayman, Martin's team stages their equipment. Speedboats fueled and ready, painted dull colors to blend with the night sea. 3 anxious days awaiting the green light, double-checking radios, rehearsing their cover story. Finally, the call comes. Planes are en route from Colombia, laden with cocaine. Time to move. The flotilla sets off northward, slicing through turquoise waters into the open Caribbean. Martin stands at the helm of the lead boat, wind whipping his face. 3 days through rolling swells, skirting the coasts of Jamaica and Haiti under the baking sun. By the 3rd night, they reach the Windward Passage, a dark strait between Haiti and Cuba, known for treacherous currents. It's midnight with a moonless sky. Martin kills the engine. The only sounds are lapping waves and his pounding pulse. He radios a coded signal. "We are here." Moments later, the drone of aircraft engines rumbles overhead. Martin's throat tightens. Suddenly, something massive slams the water nearby with the force of a bomb. Then another impact and another. It is raining refrigerators. That is what it sounds like when a 45-kilo bale of coke, wrapped tight in canvas, hurtles from a low-flying plane into the ocean. Each impact cracks across the waves like a gunshot. Martin's crew flinches as one bundle careens dangerously close, nearly capsizing their boat in its splash wake. If one of those bales hits a deck or a scull, it is game over. They scramble into action. In the starlight, Martin sees dozens of floating bales bobbing in the chop, each spray-painted with the cartel's logo. Pure Medellin product, Manny and his smugglers haul cocaine from the sea with gaff hooks and brute muscle. The bundles are waterlogged and heavy. Martin's arms ache as he wrestles one onto the deck. Somewhere in the darkness, cartel observers might be watching through binoculars, ensuring Manny does his job. Martin forces a whoop of triumph, acting like a smuggler who just hit the jackpot instead of an agent collecting evidence. For hours, they toil until the boats ride low in the water, loaded with an empire's ransom, 3,000 kilos accounted for. They race back to Miami, hugging the dark horizon, evading Coast Guard patrols with secret help from U.S. authorities who have been instructed to look the other way on Manny's route. By dawn, the boats slip into a quiet South Florida marina where cartel trucks await. Manny oversees the transfer of bale after bale into a refrigerated produce truck. The instant the cartel's men slam the doors shut, FBI strike teams converge. DEA agents storm in. Miami-Dade police block the exits. The stunned traffickers are taken down in cuffs. It is one of the largest drug seizures in FBI history. Manny slips away in the confusion, acting furious and scared. Later, he tells his cartel contacts the bust was bad luck, a near miss, and they believe him. In the cartel's eyes, Manny delivered. High-level bosses chalk it up as an operational loss, not an inside job. Martin's cover survives intact. Over the next year, Manny transports over $1 billion worth of cocaine for the Medellin and their allies, every gram ultimately intercepted by law enforcement, though the cartel never learns this. Each operation tightens the noose around cartel necks, but each operation also tightens the noose around Martin's double life. The higher he rises in the cartel's esteem, the harder it will crash when they learn the truth. After Pablo Escobar's downfall in December 1993, another Colombian network rises. They want Manny for a different job, help them launder their millions. It is a promotion into the cartel's financial heart, but it will also pit him against a new breed of operatives, intelligent, paranoid, and lethal in ways the smugglers never were. What makes the money men deadlier than killers? And will they discover who Manny really is? 1992, Puerto Rico. Martin transfers to the FBI's San Juan field office, officially a move to be closer to his aging parents and to give him a break from undercover work. In reality, Puerto Rico has become a crucial hub for cartel finance. His next mission is unfolding on his home turf. An IRS tip flags suspicious transactions. A man repeatedly walking into a San Juan bank with duffel bags of cash, walking out with cashier's checks just under $10,000 each. Classic smurfing, breaking large piles of dirty money into small deposits to dodge federal reporting requirements. The pattern screams drug money. The IRS asks the FBI to investigate, and Martin is pulled in. Agents uncover a clandestine network of couriers converting drug dollars into monetary instruments that slip into the legitimate financial system. Complex, tedious work, but exactly how cartels hide billions in plain sight. And thanks to the groundwork Martin laid as Manny, an opportunity emerges. Manny can get in on the money laundering side. The FBI flips one of the low-level smurfs, persuading him to introduce Manny up the chain. Martin crafts a new chapter in Manny's legend, a semi-retired smuggler looking for safer, more cerebral work. No more high-speed boat chases. Manny wants to move into finance. To the launderers, this story makes sense, and Manny's reputation precedes him. He is the guy who moved loads few others could. If he says he wants to wash cash now, that is a resume they respect. Soon, Martin finds himself on the phone with a new puppet master. The voice is smooth, confident, chillingly matter-of-fact. He calls himself El Toro Negro, the Black Bull. His real identity is kept so secret he is almost a ghost, but his influence is very real. El Toro Negro is the money boss for the North Coast Cartel, operating out of Maicao, Colombia. Maicao is infamous as a lawless bazaar of smuggling and money laundering, strategically close to Venezuela and offshore banking havens like Aruba and Panama. If cocaine cartels have a Wall Street, Maicao is it. And El Toro Negro is its Gordon Gekko, with a murderous twist. Over a secure line, El Toro Negro greets Manny with friendly warmth. He speaks educated Spanish, even cracking a joke about Puerto Rican rum. Martin plays along, dropping financial jargon to sound savvy. Then, without changing his pleasant tone, El Toro slides in a sentence that makes Martin break into a sweat. We're all going to make a lot of money together, Manny. But if I smell something bad, I have a long arm. I can reach around the world and touch you on the shoulder. The most polite death threat Martin has ever received. Working under El Toro Negro is a masterclass in high-level laundering. Manny's new colleagues are highly educated, accountants, bankers, economists with Ivy League degrees. One Cali cartel launderer, Franklin Jurado, famously studied at Harvard. They dress in conservative business suits, carry briefcases instead of gold-plated pistols. But they are every bit as dangerous. The difference? They do not need to show off. They only need to not get caught. Martin starts laundering tens of millions. He sets up shell companies and offshore accounts. He brokers deals to buy commodities, precious metals, electronics, even imported onions with dirty cash, then immediately resells them. The process turns drug money into legitimate earnings. Dizzyingly complex, but Martin documents each step for the FBI. He is gathering evidence of the black market peso exchange, an underground system Cartel's worldwide use to launder drug profits. This is not a local crime. It is a global conspiracy worth billions. The deeper Martin digs, the more astonishing the connections become. Hints that legitimate banks have insiders complicit in the scheme. Whispers that major U.S. corporations indirectly participate. Intelligence suggesting officials at the highest levels of the Colombian government might benefit. The kind of discovery that could topple governments. By mid-1994, Martin holds approximately $12 million in cartel funds in accounts he controls. The FBI decides it is time. They prepare a sweeping indictment to take down the entire network. Martin's 6-year odyssey is about to end. August 1994. Federal prosecutors unseal the case and unleash arrest warrants. 52 cartel members charged with drug trafficking, money laundering, and conspiracy. One of the largest crackdowns ever. Nearly all will plead guilty, but one name is absent from the indictment: Manny. To the surviving cartel members, the conclusion is inescapable. There was a traitor, someone close with access to everything, product, people, money, betrayed them. El Toro Negro is furious but calculating. In the underworld, betrayal demands blood. The Black Bull's long arm is already reaching across the ocean. What happens when a cartel boss with unlimited resources sends a professional killer to your front door? And when your only weapon is the door itself? August 1994, Puerto Rico, days after the indictments. Martin finishes his morning jog, lungs burning from the humidity, and turns down his suburban street. Palm trees sway behind the security gates. On the surface, everything looks normal. But Martin's senses are on high alert. He knows the storm he has unleashed. He just does not know from which direction it will come. He walks up to his home, scans the area. Nothing wrong. He opens his front gate, steps onto the patio, sinks into a chair dripping with sweat, and closes his eyes. That is when he hears it. An unmistakable hiss, like a snake in the garden. His eyes flash open to see a silhouette in his peripheral vision. Before he can move, the barrel of a gun presses against his skull. The Sicario has found him. On your knees, and don't run, motherfucker. You aren't gonna outrun these bullets. Martin's mind races, unarmed and flat-footed. If he runs, dead. If he fights, dead. His only chance is to think. The hitman is coiled with nervous energy, an assassin high on adrenaline, maybe drugs, sent to finish a job quickly. Martin remarkably feels a strange calm wash over him. A thought crystallizes. Stall. In a steady voice, Martin speaks. Hey, take it easy. I'm just a guest here, watching the house for a friend. A lie so audacious the hitman blinks. The house is nice enough that no random guest would be hanging out in jogging clothes. The hitman expected fear. Begging. Instead, confusion. He hesitates. Neither man moves. The assassin studies Martin's face, perhaps recalling a description or photo of his target, perhaps second-guessing himself. Martin's heart hammers, but he looks straight ahead, appearing irritated more than terrified. A minute passes, 2. The hitman motions with the revolver. Inside. Move. He wants Martin somewhere out of public view to finish the job. Martin's blood runs cold. Going inside could be a death sentence. But he complies, walking to the door with the hitman yards behind, weapon trained on him. His mind fumbles for a plan. As he reaches the door, sweaty hand on the knob, an idea sparks. This is the only chance he will get. He pushes the door open inward. For a split second, the hitman's line of sight shifts as he prepares to follow. Martin spins on his heel and slams the door outward into the hitman. It catches him off guard, sending him stumbling off the porch. Martin pivots and launches himself in the opposite direction. A gunshot explodes in the morning. The hitman fires wildly as he reels. The bullet whizzes past Martin's ear. He hits the ground hard but scrambles around the house where his off-duty sidearm is stashed inside a screened window. Another shot splinters the door frame. Martin yanks the screen and grabs his pistol. Years of training kick in. He bursts around the corner, gun extended. The hitman is running, sprinting across the lawn toward a gap in the hedge leading to the golf course. Martin fires, but fails. He fires again. The hitman returns fire over his shoulder, a chaotic exchange in the tropical suburb. Martin ducks as a round shatters his car's windshield in the driveway. He squeezes the trigger, but is empty. Silence, except for Martin's ragged breathing. He watches the Sicario disappear into the golf course, limping slightly. He got away. Martin stands barefoot in the grass, chest heaving, the acrid smell of gunpowder in the air. Blood drips into his eye. His nose is broken, likely from slamming into the door. But he is alive. Police sirens wail. Hours later, officers find a man hiding in the brush by the golf course, scratched by thorns. In his pocket, a Smith & Wesson revolver with 2 rounds fired. Under interrogation, the captured assassin stays silent. He refuses to give his name, his employers, anything. Without him talking, no hard evidence ties this to El Toro Negro. Local news reports it as a home invasion foiled by off-duty FBI agent. The FBI knows the truth. Martin knows the truth. El Toro had kept his promise. The long arm reached out. It just did not grab hard enough. The final tally of Operation Colaboro is monumental. 52 indictments, dozens of guilty pleas, cartel smuggling routes crippled, the black market peso exchange exposed and disrupted. It was the longest continuous undercover assignment in FBI history, nearly 6 years deep in the belly of the beast. Martin Suarez, the man who was Manny, set a record that stands to this day. He retired from the FBI in 2011, a hero within the Bureau. His case changed how federal agencies attack organized crime finances. He gave lectures to new agents, cautioning them about the psychological toll, because that is the part you will not find in headlines. Martin lived 6 years as someone else, at unimaginable personal risk. To catch the bad guys, he had to become like them, and that meant carrying the weight of that darkness far longer than any operation should last. He missed birthdays, lied to everyone he loved, woke up every day wondering if it was his last. A Sicario came to his home to kill him. That burden no metal can erase. And one more thing. El Toro Negro, the Black Bull, was never caught. The shadowy money boss slipped away, likely tipped off by the chaos of the indictments. He remains a phantom, his real name unconfirmed, his whereabouts unknown. For Martin, that fact lingers like a storm cloud. Yes, he dismantled a Colombian narco empire from the inside. Yes, he put some of the world's worst criminals behind bars. But the man who sent an assassin to his doorstep is still out there. Martin Suarez now lives quietly, enjoying time with his family, far from the flash of Manny's life. Yet even years after retiring, he admits there is a part of him that never stops looking over his shoulder. Every unexpected tap on the shoulder, every unfamiliar face that seems to recognize him, sends a jolt through his spine. El Toro Negro promised revenge, and a man like that does not need to be reminded. When you walk into the darkness, you may defeat your enemies, but you never fully escape the shadows they cast. Martin beat impossible odds for 6 years, but there is another undercover agent who went even deeper, who crossed a line Martin never did, and paid a price that makes a hitman at your door look merciful. That story is waiting for you right here.